Hello, everybody, Unlimited Wisdom family. I love and appreciate you. There's Deborah oh, I'll call that a book face because I could see one of my books on her face. So that's I guess. So hi Scott, hi Star, hi Melody, hi Shelley, hi Dustin. Again, Deborah, Coach Bob, Lisa Marie. And Eric, Sandy, hostess with the mostest, Craig, thank you very much for being on here. And today I just thought I would go into a little more of, the whole concept of harvest, right? It's like a lot of people, especially, I just want to give a shout out to Coach Bob. I mean, not only, getting diamond, but had 192 customers. I don't know what it ended up being. You know what I mean? But it's like hi Fahad, thanks for jumping on. And I wanted to share with every one of you is that I want you guys, if you're possible, if you possibly can, is go back and pinpoint in your history when you have had a harvest. And and here's something that I was thinking: could be called a harvest? A harvest could be a child. You know what I mean? A harvest could be grandkids, because now you got your harvest, your seed. That sounds weird, but your seed and your egg, is going on and causing generations. But I wanted to share that with you because I think that all of us have gone through points in our lives where I don't know, maybe we got a promotion, maybe we graduated from, elementary school or junior high or high school or even college. But there's a lot of things like I said, a job promotion, maybe it was a new job, right? I think sometimes in the courtship of a relationship, it could be marriage. For from people that didn't have a good marriage, it could be divorce. It's like, but I really want all of you to sort of think and maybe take a little bit of time to think about the wins that you hit, right? Things that happened to you that just was maybe for a cause of celebration. And the only reason that I bring this up is that there's been a lot of things that we've been doing since we've been involved in Immunitech, and it was bizarre what happened, in the last 48 hours. Not only Terry hitting diamond, but Coach Bob hitting diamond. We had what is it, 3 or 4 new diamonds that broke in Hungary, which was really really amazing. And to go from, I think we did like close to 400,000 in points last month, and this month it was like 830,000. So the whole production of everything just doubled. And when people get rank advancements, that really truly means also income advancements. And what's very very bizarre about that is that the consistent effort that you got to do each and every day to make that happen. When you look at all the things that we mentioned prior, it takes a consistency of doing something to get a result. And me and Craig were talking about this, and it's like, some people, I think if you ask them, and maybe this is okay. In fact, I, just got a download. It's totally okay. But if you ask somebody what they earned 5 years ago, and then what they earned 4 years ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago, last year, and there might not be like an increase in income at all, but there could be something else that a person would be working on that would also be a harvest. You know what I mean? It's like as soon as I said that, I thought of Craig. You know what I mean? Everyone might look at someone that gets an Oscar as being the ultimate, or a Tony as being the ultimate thing that you could probably do as an actor actress. But in reality, you know what I mean? If you're working on your art, you're putting in the work, and then you get a little different manager, or a little different, agent, and you actually get work, and it might not be big paying work, it might be voluntary work, you know what I mean? But yet you're still putting in the effort to one day want that harvest to happen. Well, I know a couple of days ago, since I've been back from Colombia, is that, are you really truly on a daily basis um, imagining a better future for you and your family? Because again, if you're not taking that time, like the strangest secret, I had like 10 people reach out to me and go, "Hey, I re-listened to that audio. I haven't listened to it in a while, and holy shit." You know what I mean? It just like hits you in the head with a hammer, because again, for me, I'll say this for me, and you guys can say or post or whatever. It really just comes down to the simplicity of what it is to be a productive human being, a happy human being. It's like we always want to make it so complex, the overthinking of the overthinking. And what we do is we always make it so difficult. And throughout my career, I think I shared this with you guys before, but I just thought it would be, a great thing to say on harvest, right? I think I shared with you guys one time, me just contemplating, everything was going very, very well. I'm not bragging here, but real estate was really, really difficult in California. It was hard to find a home, and we wanted to lease a home and help Hannah and Matt move to California. That's where they wanted to move. And so they were house shopping for us, and they found this beautiful home. Melody and Craig's both been there. And they found this home for us, and they were like, "Well, we got quite a few people that are looking at it." And I said, "What if I paid for a year in advance?" What was like on a lease was $250,000 was what I gave him in cash up front. So I don't want that to sound like bragging, but we all wanted to go back to California for a while, and we wanted to have a place instead of being in a hotel. And we got the two golden retrievers, and so it was like, so when I made that offer that we would pay them cash for a year, they accepted it immediately. Sometimes people say, money doesn't buy happiness. Well, this is one time that it did. And and I only bring that up again to just go, wow, there's these things that happen in your life that because you're consistent in what you're doing and thinking and putting that imagination out there, that these little miracles happen. Like since I went to Colombia, it's like these little miracles. It was like, hey, are you going to go the extra mile? Are you going to do what others wouldn't do? Are you going to, again, go out there and do that? But there's not a doubt in my mind that when I went that extra mile, it did something in Chris Robinson's heart and soul. It's like, Chris Robinson, like as soon as I got back, and apparently he had some discussions with Josh and Mauricio and Mike, you know what I mean, the president, and all four of them came to this consensus that I was a valuable asset, and that they felt like they weren't supporting me and doing stuff for me and my team because my team was kicking ass compared to other teams. And sometimes we do this, and I've done this in my life as well, is we're constantly trying to find a way to motivate and engage people that have apparently made a decision that they don't want to do anything, and they especially don't want to do it the way you're doing it, right? They just don't want to participate. But yet we all have these people that are loyal. They always show up. They might not be, crushing it, but they're consistent. You know what I mean? They're just always, like the classic eating an elephant one bite at a time. And sometimes those people get overlooked. You know what I mean? Because they're not big players, right? So when Chris hit platinum, I was blown away that Josh hit senior platinum, and I was going, I don't really think that Josh is doing that much more volume. Well, guess what it takes to become a senior platinum? To have one person in your group become a platinum. It has nothing to do with volume. So when Chris became platinum, that immediately made Josh senior platinum. Don't you guys find that funny? And I'm like going, wow. And so I seen, Chris go platinum. So I reached out to him and I said to him, man, I'm so, so proud of you. Thank you for leading by example, blah, 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 blah. And as soon as I said that to him, he goes, you do know that you're over 50% of my volume. And I went, well, that's nice. That's all I said. It's like, that's nice. And I think in his head, when we got off there, he goes, man, I just told someone that they're over 50% of my volume. And how have I helped them? How have I supported Robert and his team? And I think that clicked in his head. Well, I didn't know that Chris had put together this deal, and he paid a lot of money for it. He won't tell me what it is. But they took all these contacts that they used to have in HempWorks underneath him. And what they did is they found a way to send them numerous emails and also numerous texts. He paid a company to do this. And so he was dripping on all these people. And as he was dripping all on these people, he ended up getting like 380 customers. And so he had 380 customers, but they were in his holding tank. And so that's when he made the decision. He reaches out to me and he says, hey, I want to do something for you. And Terry was sitting in her chair next to me. And I go, what? And he goes, I want to make Terry a diamond. And I went, that'd be awesome. And so when he made Terry a diamond, he went through his whole organization and found out that there was a lot of people that were 75 to 80% close to diamond. And Bob was one of them. Bob was waiting. Me and Bob were going back and forth looking at all his structure. And we kept going back and forth. Should we do the stuff that we need to do to make him diamond or not? Blah, 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 blah. And me and Bob were looking at it. So here's the point of the miracle I want to bring up, excuse me, is there was not a doubt that Bob and I were spending a majority of our time thinking about how to get him to diamond. Are you guys listening? So me and him are going back in a mastermind on how he's going to get the diamond, how we could do it, how we could structure it, what more volume we needed to do, how many more people we needed to do. And then there's another thing that kicks in. It's like when two or more are agreeing on something that's going to happen in the future, there I am in the midst. So that's me and Bob fellowshipping. We know that God's there. We're not thinking about, hey, God. But we were probably, I'd say, at least for maybe 3 days, 4 days. Now, this is when Bob and I hooked up. Bob had been thinking about how he was going diamond the whole month. Are you guys listening close here? So if Bob every day is saying, I got to go diamond, I got to go diamond, it'd be cool to go diamond, I got to go diamond. What does it take to get diamond? Am I getting closer? And he watches the percentages coming up. And then I come in and he's going, I'm trying to figure out how to go diamond. I said, well, let's get on a Zoom. Let's figure out how to go diamond. Then didn't Bob and I do exactly what the strangest secret is? See, some people will listen to that and go, that's a cool acronym. That's pretty cool. But Bob and I were thinking and wondering and thinking it would be awesome if we could pull that off. So then all of a sudden, in the last day for it to go, bam, it's like Bob's watching his volume so close that Chris reaches out to me and he says, I'm going to put some customers under Bev to help her go diamond. What do you think of that? And I said, he's doing more than anybody else on in my group. I go, he's just crushing it. And he goes, okay. He says, well, I like Bob. And he says, I'm going to make that happen. And then I'm going to call you up and we'll call him and surprise him and tell him he's a diamond. Well, to show you how focused Bob was, is the second that he hits diamond, he reaches out to me and he goes, hey, I don't know what's going on, but I'm diamond. So there was no surprising Bob, because he's doing like a lot of things that I do, where I'm logging in, I'm refreshing. I'm logging in, I'm refreshing. I'm logging in, I'm refreshing. Because I'm waiting for it to turn to the next rank advance, right? And Bob, with all that I just said, when we seen it and realized that it happened, what were your thoughts over the last month of April? And when it popped, share with people what your thoughts were, because I'm sharing my thoughts.
Yeah, I thought it was a mistake. I, because we had talked and then you just said, let it come natural. And we had talked about it. You just said,
I
don't
did,
try
didn't
to,
I?
don't try to force this, Bob,
I
let it come
did, didn't
natural.
I? Holy
And,
shit.
and you go, it's gonna come. And because I was working on this all month, because I knew 420 was going to be a big thing.
Got it.
So I had it all planned out, every day I had it planned out what I was going to do. And I stayed up late at night. I missed the gym a lot. I just, to get so close and then to have leadership help you out to notice you was just special, right?
Oh,
They
yes.
kind of, I can't say enough, because I was wondering, should I buy another position? Should I, we talked about that. And yeah,
I forgot that I
I'm
said,
thrilled.
listen, just let it naturally happen. Don't put in other extra people that we don't know. It'll happen.
Yeah, because it'll come, right? I mean, you keep working and then it did. So I was like, at first I thought, is this a mistake? And then I was very excited and very grateful at the, leadership we have. So they
Right.
will notice you. I mean, so
Yeah, and so it's here's the other thing. I never reached out. I don't reach out to anybody. In fact, Mauricio and Mike in Colombia was like, hey, listen, if there's anything we can do, let us know. I said, yeah, I'll let you know. And Mauricio goes, you never call me ever. And I'm like, I thought in the sentence that you just said to me that you used the word need. And he started laughing, because don't people say that all the time? Hey, if you need me,
yeah.
and I'm going, I'm not trying to be a jerk here, but I don't need you. You already put together a company and a compensation and a customer service department. And I come from always a place of being very grateful, because I know all the stuff that Mike and Mauricio did, including, on their way to Hungary right now. You know what I mean? So the way that they've taken care of Shandor and Judith and Arpad from Romania, the way they've taken care of those people, and now they're going there to do an event. So it's like, I'm just so gracious. I'm just
Yeah.
so gracious. And so, but I thought when I got up this morning and I was in my meditation and prayer time on what I was going to talk about today, and it's like one of the things that we don't do. I've said this before, and thank you, Bob. I appreciate you. But what we do is we don't go back and realize that these miracles, I call them miracles in motion, that these things happen in our lives. And because of the strangest secret in the world and talking about that, we spend a lot of time thinking about things we're irritated with, things that we're upset with. I'll give you a neat example. Like we spend majority of the time thinking about why this is not happening fast enough. We constantly spend a lot of time, strangest secret, we spend a lot of time thinking about how much we suck, how we're not good enough, how we're doing maybe something wrong, or maybe we're beating ourselves up because we go, golly, I'm such a procrastinator, or I'm such a drifter. You know what I mean? I'm constantly distracted with, all these other things. And so if that's what you're thinking about the most, you just get more of that. Does that make sense to you guys? So if you're constantly beating the shit out of yourself and you always think you're a procrastinator and a loser and I can never figure this stuff out and I get so distracted. And one of the things that so make sure you're spending ample time in the imagination of helping others. Because bottom line, these promotions wouldn't have happened for Terry and Coach Bob if there wasn't someone getting a bunch of customers. So sometimes I'm very there used to be this thing talked about goals, right? I read a book, The Code to the Extraordinary Mind by Vision Lakhani. And he was the first person that said, hey, listen, goals are bullshit. Goals are just flat out bullshit. And the reason that he says that goals are BS is because our mind always, and I mean always, mine does this. Our mind always does unrealistic expectations within the first year. I could become diamond. I could do this. I can bring in this many people. And so what we do is, that's one of the reasons, and this is just personal. I don't want to beat people up, but these people that constantly are doing these 60-day dashes or these 90-day dashes. And so if they've seen everyone blitz, so if you looked at everyone that said that they were going to commit to a 30 or 60 or 90-day blitz, and you seen how many actually people did hit their goals, it again would be less than 1%. So what does that mean? That means the other 99 people that participated in the goal exercise didn't hit it. How many of you guys like not hitting your goals? It just demoralizes you. You know what I mean? It gets your mind to go, yeah, this is another goal you're not going to hit. You know what I mean? And it's like your mind just like defeats you. And so in there, it constantly talks, which is in the 6-phase meditation, is that you're supposed to imagine things 3 years from now. So all the stuff that you're doing, the experiences you're going to have for you and your family, everything that you truly, truly want, think about 3 years from now that you have it. Because here's what our mind also does. It grossly misses how fast things can happen for a human being. So you're thinking 3 years, and then all of a sudden it happens in 9 months. It happens in 6 months because we're focused on it, because we're so emotionally excited about how we felt about something that was going to happen 3 years from now. So now what you do is, another thing that I've learned is, remember where everyone always talks about you got to be clearly specific? That's not true. Because you could say that you want a home where every day you get up and you look at the beach. And there's a lot of homes out there that is looking at the beach. So when you make up your mind, well, I want to live in this city, I want to be on this street, or crazier, I want this address. You're sort of tying the hands of the powers to be. And because I know this stuff very well, when I am not Pacific, everything that comes into my life is more than I imagined. Are you guys listening to that? It's like, because when I was young, all the very, very, very successful network marketers that were making 1 million plus a year, I even came up with this word. I'd rather be a million a year. A million a year. I want 1 million coming in a year, every freaking year. So, people go, "Are you a millionaire?" And I go, "No, I'm a million a year." It's a pretty big difference, isn't it? And so all the stuff that I thought of, all the stuff that I thought of, like the cars, the homes, the vacations, the things that I did with my family, I so over exceeded every one of the thoughts that I had in my mind. And it's because I wasn't specific. You guys understand? It's like, so I'd like to live in Newport Beach, and instead I ended up in Newport Coast. um, Average incomes per household about another 5 million a year. I got put into a better zip code because I wasn't specific. You guys understand? And so yeah, so if you just say this is the kind of thing that I would like to enjoy, and again using the strangest secret and the 6 phase meditation and just constantly putting it out there. So because I'll give you a neat example. Bob could have easily said the way that I become diamond and then map it out with the exact amount of customers that he needed. All right. Now, because Bob is not focused on getting consultants, then the way he was going to make that happen is buy positions that cost money. And then he was going to sell that product at another time. See? So because he's focused on customers, so he knows how many customers he needs to create the volume that he needed to go diamond. So if that's the only way it was going to happen, it was when me and Bob had the conversation where I just said, listen, stop focusing on that stuff. You do not need to be spending more money. Allow it to come natural, but still see it in your mind. And he's like, okay, that makes me, and I knew that Bob knew that right away because he knew the way he was talking about going to diamond would have definitely made me more money. So he knew right away when I said, no, listen, just let's keep it in the forefront of our mind. Let's be excited about it. I'm with you and let it happen naturally. And right away when I said that, I remember what Bob said to me. He goes, you don't know how wonderful that makes me feel. Because in his mind, depending on where we were in the last day yesterday, he was thinking of spending upwards of $6,000. And then how long it was going to take him to get the money back from selling the product and the bonuses and stuff like that. See? So when I told him, don't do that, forget about that, see how much of a relief it was for him? And then all of a sudden, because we let go and we surrendered, we had no idea that Chris Robinson was going to come out of nowhere and go, I don't need all these customers in a holding tank. Here you go. Here you go. Here you go. And see, some of you right away will probably go, well, I wish he would do that for me. He woulda, if you were in the back office, a certain percentage away from hitting a position. So you always help people that are doing their best. They don't need to be rock stars, but they need to be doing their best. And so I did want to finish this by telling you guys that, and again, I know this freaks people out, but I love freaking people out. And so I came up with that story of when we all moved to California and leased that house, so I'm the guy that I don't care. It's if you guys get to know me really well, I can be by myself for months. I'm being bold right now, when I figured out that Jesus was with me all the time, I'm pretty happy. I'm very, very happy. And I'm happier when people that I love are happy. And you guys are part of my family. I love when you guys win, you know? And so I'm driving, I decided to drive the truck that had a lot of our stuff in it, Matt and Hannah's stuff, and pulling a trailer that had one of the Teslas on it. And I'm all by myself in this truck. And of course, the FM radio is not working at all, especially through the mountains, right? And so I just really, really just, got into the zone, the vortex. I really was just really praying and putting my head in the right place. And I went, wow, if someone keeps asking me, uh, how do you do this? How do you get to that kind of income and help that many people? And it's what I closed out my talk with in Colombia. It's so in my heart where I simply just go to my knees and say, dear Heavenly Father, in the name of Jesus, bring me the people that have ears to hear. I know there's people out there right now begging and praying for a way to make extra money for their family, or maybe have some kind of product that could actually help one of their family members or people that they love no longer have to deal with that illness. And so when it really hit me, where I went through every single leader that brought me in a very substantial income, that all the people that I had in my group, I didn't personally reach out to. They reached out to me. So that's my imagination still, is that the people is that going to stop me from doing birthday messages? No, because see, that's my way of continuing to plant. My discipline and me being obeying is go to the ends of the world to speak to those that have ears to hear. So I'm going to consistently be consistent in harvesting, and then also believing that the people that need help, that I will help them. And so it really, really, even being involved in Gano Excel was me helping somebody that wasn't in my organization 37 years ago. And that was Jovan Kabasic. Used to be Craig's boss. But because I helped him and he wasn't in my organization, then when he got a chance to be a CEO for this company, he reached out to me and asked me to help him. Isn't that pretty powerful? And it was a pretty good pitch. He called me up and he said, "What are you doing this weekend?" And I go, "I'm speaking in San Diego at a Kiani convention." And he goes, "Okay, how about next week?" And I go, "I'm not doing anything." He goes, "Great. Can I pay for a ticket and we'll go to Malaysia? I want you to see something." I went, "Okay." So then the whole trip for 16 hours is him asking me if I could create the perfect company, comp plan, way to get in, training, everything. What would it be? And so I shared him everything. And then when I got to Malaysia and met this billionaire named Mr. Liao, then he basically looked at me in a boardroom with a bunch of people and he says, "Well, go up there and tell them what you told me on the airplane." And I stood up there and told them, and Mr. Liao bet on me, and the rest is history. Pretty crazy, huh? And so the thing I want to share with you guys is the weekend I was speaking at a Kiani event, another network marketing company. I was unaware that I'd be on an airplane, you know, a day later flying to Malaysia. So you got to really put yourself in not only the imagination of what you want for you and your family, but you really got to be open to the possibilities of things that could happen to you. So I don't care where the money comes from. So if it comes from this direction or this direction or this direction, I just want to be, I want to keep my imagination, do the strangest secret, always be in a mentality of imagining a better future for me and my family and the people, like you. Then it's going to happen. So I like the little miracles that happened with Terry and happened with Bob and happened with three other diamonds. It's just very, very nice, and I believe if you'll allow me to believe with you, I believe that those miracles can happen for you. So get into the imagination state. And then, very simply, I'd love it if you just shared it with me. You don't have to share it with a group. You can just share it with me. And then I can agree with you. And let's go out and make it happen. Hi, Corky. Sorry you just jumped on because we're going to sign off. And so, Corky, Star, Mary, Fahad, Scott, Melody, Shelly, Dustin, Lisa Marie, Deborah, Coach Bob, Sandy, and then Craig Jackman. I love you guys, and we'll see you tomorrow and see you on Sunday.